Hello, everyone. This is Rick, and welcome to Astral Club. This is a foreword that I'm recording now for the video that I'm reposting for today, Wednesday, which I originally posted 3 years ago. It was called An Astral Vision of World War III. I just wanted to record this foreword because there's just some things, I have to say. When I recorded the astral vision of World War III, I struggled with myself. I did not want to make it. I didn't want to reveal what I had been shown because it was something that frightened me to such an extent that I wanted to forget it. I wanted to put it behind me, and I wanted to make believe like it didn't happen. In this case, it was a very odd situation for me because once I left my body, I was taken by a force. I'm not used to that. I had no choice but to go along. And then I was shown a vision of a 1,000,000-man army getting ready to attack Israel that was camped in an area called Tel Megiddo, or as it's called by the Greeks, Armageddon. But I decided anyway to share it with you 3 years ago. All the while hoping that it was some sort of a delusion, or it was some timeline that wouldn't occur in our timeline, and that it was just a horrible dream. I don't want to be known as someone who brings bad news. I mean, if anyone is a fan of Lord of the Rings, you might remember in the second book, The Two Towers, Gandalf rode to the kingdom of Rohan to talk to King Theoden. And Theoden's servant, whose name was Wormtongue, and he was a servant of an evil wizard called Saruman. And he would call Gandalf Stormcrow, because it seemed whenever Gandalf showed up to talk to King Theoden, he had bad news. And nobody likes somebody who shows up with bad news. I don't want to be a Stormcrow, but what can I do? If I'm presented with information, do I hold back? Do I hide it? If so, if I do that, am I serving the people who are nice enough to listen to Astral Club? I don't think I am. If I give you all rose-colored glasses, is that really the right thing for me to do? I asked my angel recently if there was any hope that we could avoid this dark period of war, to prevent these storm clouds which seem to be gathering everywhere, gathering over China and Taiwan, gathering over Ukraine and Russia and Europe, gathering over Israel in the Middle East. Today I read, we've got U.S. ships now that are within range of Hamas rockets, building this pier to deliver supplies. If Hamas decides to shoot off some rockets and we don't shoot them all down, and one of our ships is hit and hundreds of American sailors are killed, what's that going to do? Is that going to get the U.S. involved in a war? If so, will our allies follow us? And then will our enemies then come against us, leading us into another large war? It's a frightening concept. What's worse is I feel the stress. Every time I project, I feel the anger, I feel the stress that is going on in our own country. There's anger that's building and building. And it just frightens me thinking about how the world seems to be getting ready to tear itself apart. So what do? Do I hold back? Do I not share what I've received and try to spare you worry? Or do I try to give you the information I have and then you can do with it whatever you like? If you want to ignore it, fine. But at least I feel that I have done my job because I have a duty of care to each and every one of you. I have to make sure that I'm not only sharing my astral projection information and what have you, but if I get other information, it seems incumbent upon me to share that with you so that you can then have freedom of movement. My advice is this: don't panic, but begin saving up some potable water or good water filters. Have some food supplies that are long lived. I know there's not a lot of extra money in a lot of people's pockets. Do what you can. Have some medical supplies. If you live in a neighborhood, make some good friends. Grow a vegetable garden. If you can afford it, after all of this, have some gold and silver. Gold and silver has held its value for 3,000 years. Paper money, well, the $100 bill from 1913 is now worth 1 or 2 pennies today. So we know that even in the best of the times, over the last 100 years or so, paper money is worthless. It's backed by the good faith and credit of the United States. You take that for what you will. I said to you, about 4 years ago, that the beginning of this decade would be very different from the end of this decade. We're not even halfway through yet. And I have seen more changes now and more upheavals than I have in my 63 years. So I had hoped once again that this prediction would fall flat on its face, but it doesn't seem to be doing so. So I'm offering you this warning. As I said, don't panic, but begin to prepare. Don't be one of those people with nothing saved, with no food reserves, no medicine, no water, completely reliant on the government. You don't want to do that. Use what money you can afford to prepare. I know Homeland Security has a list of some things that they advise that everybody have in their home. If you want to start with that, go ahead and look that up. I recently saw my angel and I asked him about the current circumstances, and I begged him for some hope, for some way out of this oncoming storm. He looked at me sadly and then he turned his back on me. I didn't have the courage to say anything more. I just left. If anybody has any good news or has anything, maybe you can interpret that gesture in some positive way, please let me know, because I'd love to hear it. But I felt I had to make this forward. And next up, you can watch the astral vision of World War III. Keep up some modicum of hope. Prepare, but try to keep some hope. Send out good vibrations, peace. Do whatever you can. If you pray, pray. Do whatever you can to help, because we're going into a dark period and we need all the light bearers that we can possibly produce right now. And I just felt like I had to share this, and I just couldn't just not do anything and just try to hold back, because I figured that was taking the coward's way out. And I always said to myself, that's one thing I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to be cowardly and try to hold back and hide information because some people might not like it. So This is my foreword, and if you want to watch the repost, my astral vision of World War III, which I posted originally around 3 years ago, you're certainly welcome to do so. As always, this is Rick, and I will see you on the astral plane.